everybody, I'm back. It's AJ. Hey TC, what's going on? I'm about to get ready to settle in for the night for Scandal Night, of course. But I wanted to come in. There's been a lot of talk recently about investment dollars and investors and all this other stuff. Hi, Linehand Neil, everybody that's joining. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about investment dollars because as a small business, if you're trying to grow and scale, eventually, inevitably, you will need to be looking for investment dollars. First, a little about me. My name is Adrienne Graham. I'm the CEO and founder of Empower Me Corporation. I do business growth strategies. Thank you for inviting followers. Hey, Miss Phenom. I do business growth strategies, and I work with companies. I work with small businesses to help grow and scale them into thriving, profitable companies. That is what I do. And my website is empowerme.org. I have such a glare on my glasses. I'm going to try to do this without the glare here. But yeah, there's been a lot of conversation about investment dollars. And, you know, a lot of people, I love Shark Tank. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Never have a bad thing to say about it. But I think sometimes it gives people the wrong perception about what it takes to go get an investor who wants to invest in your business. So I wanted to share some tips tonight. I've written some articles about it. I'm trying to find some of my old stuff that I've written. And I want to share some tips about what you should do before you even think about going to an investor and asking for any kind of money. A lot of times people will go when they just have a product but no clear business. Sometimes they will go when they have a business but they haven't had any sales yet, or they haven't been profitable. And you know what? Being profitable is not a criteria to get anything, to get investment dollars, but generating revenue should be. I have never seen an investment that has never generated a company that's never generated a dollar get investment money, unless they really, really felt they want to take a gamble. So here's the thing. A lot of times investors will invest in more so the founders and the team as opposed to the company. If they see potential, they might, put their money in. But I'm going to tell you, 2016 is my goal to be an angel investor. And based on what I've seen in some of the pitches that have come to me, no. I would not invest in a lot of these companies because I need to make sure that there's staying power. Some of the investors with deep pockets, like out there in Silicon Valley and up in New York, Silicon Alley, they may have time and space to do that. But if you're an investor, a new investor, or an investor who has limited, like you're only doing $10,000 or $20,000 or $50,000 as an investment, that's a lot of money for somebody who's a first-time investor. So you want to make sure that you're investing in a company that has all their ducks in a row. And as a company, you want to make sure that you are approaching an investor that understands your landscape. They understand your industry, they understand your target market, they understand your product and your service, and they understand your company. But I want to start with a couple of tips, and this is the biggest one. I usually leave this one for last as a tip, but this is so important that people miss. Hi, Admire Rose. Thank you. Welcome back. A lot of people miss this, or they just kind of brush it off to the side. You have to think with the end in mind. What's the payoff? How are they going to get their money back? Even better, how are they going to get more money than they invested back? Because as an investor, you have to understand, it's not a loan. Investment dollars is not a loan. They are expecting an end game. They're expecting an exit, and you hear a lot of these stories on the news about unicorns and focus on ROI. Yeah, exactly. They want to know their return on investment. They don't talk about the exits, and the exits that you do hear about are the successful exits. And what I mean by exit is that is when the company gets to a point where they've made enough money where they can return the investment back to all of their investors and still be in the black and still be on solid footing and solid ground. And a lot of people don't think about that, the end game. They are so caught up in getting the money, getting the dollars, finding out who can give them a check. It's not about the check. And let me back up even further. Getting the money is not the end game. That is just the beginning, because this is a marriage. This is a partnership, but they're expecting think of it as, let me see, look at the prenup in marriage. Oh, I hate to say that. And if any of you are married, I don't mean anything bad by it, but a prenup is necessary because when we part ways, I need to make sure that I'm covered. So when you part ways, when you have an exit with your investors, they need to make sure that they're getting all of their money back and then some. I see Sherry C has joined. That's my sister-in-law, guys. She's supposed to be in Universal Studios right now. And she has dropped her kids off over here while she goes to have fun. No, don't say hi to me, Sherry. You're supposed to be having fun. Not on Periscope watching me do a Periscope. I'm sorry, guys. But her little bad kids are over here, and their grandmother took their time getting over here to get them so that I could do my Periscope. But anyway, back to what we talking about. That's right, kiss my babies. I'm going to kiss your babies, all right. Put them out is what I'm going to do. But anyway, you have to, I'm sorry, guys, that's some family stuff, so, ignore Sherry C. But no, go follow her. That's my sister-in-law. If you loved my nephews, a lot of you have been giving all these hearts to my nephews whenever they were on. That's their mom, Sherry C. Go ahead and follow her. She's upset because she only has one follower, and that's me. And if she keeps it up, and if she don't come get her kids, I'm going to unfollow her. But anyway, you got to think with the ends in mind. I'm sorry. Let me get back on track here. You got to think with the ends in mind, and you have to understand that the investor wants to know that they're going to get their money back and they're going to make some money on that money. It's just like when you go into the stock market. When you invest your money, you don't expect to lose money. It's a risk, and it may be part of the game, but it's for you to be able to put your money in and let your money grow. That's what investors do on a different level. The next thing I want you to think about is when you're pitching for your money, you have to be able to tell them what that money is for. Now, hear me when I say this. Do not go in there and tell them that you are seeking investment dollars so that you can market better. That is not a good use of funds. It's not. Because marketing can be done so cheaply these days. But then again, you know what? You get what you pay for. But if you're strategic about it and you're good at it, or you find someone who's good at it, you don't have to spend that much money on marketing. You're going to have to spend money, but not as much, So investment dollars should never be used for marketing. Hiring a new staff, not just I'm going to hire customer service reps or a receptionist or an assistant. Key critical people who can take the business forward. That is the kind of hiring I'm talking about. A COO, a CFO, director of marketing, someone who is a director of operations, somebody who has tangible skill set that will help you grow the company. Those are the kind of people that you need to be talking about that you're going to be hiring with this investment money. Let me see what else. For prototypes, to be able to get more production done. Sometimes you have a business and you get this big order and you can't fulfill the orders. So production, things like that, manufacturing, those are the kind of things that they want to know about, which leads me to another point. This is a side point, and I didn't think about putting this in the presentation, but you have to understand your cost of production and your cost of customer acquisition. Now, this leads me to my other point about know your numbers when you're going to approach an investor. You have to understand those are two very critical key metrics that they want to know about. How much does it cost you to make it? How much does it cost you to get and keep a new customer for each new customer? So, and we're not talking about return customers, we're talking about to get a new customer. So if those numbers don't look right, they might not want to invest their money. So you have to know those numbers. But back to what they need the money for. Tag, charge, support, and great. Oh, thank you, my Red Rose. I appreciate that. Love you. And definitely will check out your scopes too. But you have to understand those numbers. Those are key numbers that you need to understand. The next thing you need to understand is if you already have existing investments. I'm not talking about your mom and daddy. I'm not talking about your friend. I'm talking about other serious investors. And I'm going to talk about what qualifies an investor in a second. Serious investors. How many times have you heard on Shark Tank when someone's coming to pitch the sharks and they said, well, listen, we already have an investor that's given us $600,000, or I have an investor that's given us $25,000 or $50,000 or whatever it is, depending on the scale of the size of your company. Investors always want to be in first position. Let's look at it like this. Think about a mortgage. Think about your home. When you buy a home, the bank wants to be in first lien position. So you know how people come and they get secondary mortgages or HELOCs, home equity line of credits, or second mortgage or whatever it is, and they have to take a subordinate role. Investors don't like that. So be very honest and upfront with your investors to let them know how many investors you already have, how much they're in for, and how the equity splits. Because when you dilute it, now if you're coming to me and you say, hey, Adrienne, I need a $600,000 investment, not that I'm investing $600,000. I ain't rolling like that yet. I'm not a power broker. I'm not a shark yet. But hypothetically speaking, you come to me and say, Adrienne, I need a $600,000 investment. And I say, okay, well, what do you need $600,000 for? And you give me a compelling reason and you have a plan, I might be a little bit more intrigued. But if you come to me and say, I already have 2 other investors, and between them, they've already invested $1.5 million, but I need more money, I'm going to say, pump the brakes. Number one question I'm going to ask is, how the heck did you blow through $1.5 million? And number 2, why aren't your current investors reinvesting in the company? Those are 2 red flags for me. Those are red flags for any investor. So if you're going to have other investors, make sure that you disclose this in the very beginning and you tell them who the investor, well, you don't have to say who they are, but how many investors you have and how much they've each involved in the company, how much they've invested in the company. And then they'll decide whether or not they want to go ahead and throw more money. I have a cold, guys, forgive me. Oh, and this fan is blowing. But the thing is, think about it like this. Do you want to keep throwing good money after bad money? If you're investing in something and you see that it's burning through money fast, are you going to continue to give them money, or are you going to make them pump the brakes and figure out why they're burning so fast and find out where the holes are? So you gotta think about it's a business to an investor. This is not personal. This is not teary, sentimental, heartfelt, none of that, which is going to bring me to my other point. It's about business. I want to know that I'm not throwing good money after bad money. So disclose these investments and let them know what the deal is, what the situation is. And if you're burning through money and you already can't get money from current investors, you need to check your business model, your business plan, your revenue plan, and figure out why you're burning through money like that. The next tip I'm going to share is make sure that you have a company. Nothing wrong with startups. Startups are great. But you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan in place. How are you going to grow the company? How are you going to scale the company? Where are you going to find talent? What kind of talent do you need? Why is this talent necessary for the company? You have to have a plan. I need to have the visual. I need to be clear on what your company is, what it does, who it serves, and how is it going to make me money. I know that we live in a world where we're split and people are saying, oh, it shouldn't be all about the money and we should be all flowers and hearts and do things for free. No, this is a very capitalistic society. I am socially liberal. I'm conservative, fiscal. So I'm an independent. I'm in the middle. I'm neither Democrat nor Republican. I'm in the middle. I need to know that it makes sense. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. That's the way it is. So you got to keep that. I got to understand where this company is going and if it has potential. So have that ability, have that mapped out. Be ready to shoot that out to me. I need to see that, and I need to understand your vision. Make sure that I understand. Oh my God, I have such a cold. It leads me to my next tip. The next tip is make sure that you approach investors who understand your landscape. They understand your industry. They understand your business. So how many times have you heard, let's say, Damon John? That's the best thing I could do is give you guys Shark Tank examples. How many times have Damon John said, no, I know my lane. I know my lane, and I'm a fashion guy. I'm in, dealing with clothing and apparel and things like that. Entertainment, that's my lane. He doesn't understand the big technology. So he's not going to go into something he doesn't understand. A savvy investor will only invest in things that they understand. And this also applies to you guys if you go to do stock investing, because you have to understand what you're getting involved in. My son, I'll give you a quick story. Not a business, but this is for stock investing. When he was 14, I taught him how to invest in stocks. And his portfolio beat mine, but I had more money than he did. But that's not the point of this story. The point is, when we sat down and I showed him how to evaluate stocks, he said, I got it. So I sat him down. I said, you pick 5 stocks that you want to invest in, because this is your money that you're putting in. Make sure you pick right. He picked, what was it? EA Sports. He picked Nike. He picked McDonald's. He picked Disney. And, oh God, there was a fifth one. I can't remember what the fifth one was. But he did well. You know why? He understood. Those are things he used in his everyday life. He understood those companies. He knew those companies. So when he did his research on the companies, it was no brainer for him to invest in them. So you got to make sure that your investor understands what they're investing in and they understand your landscape. If your landscape is fashion, I would not go to somebody who is trying to invest money for a biotech company. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense because, yeah, they'll write a check, but how effective can they be for you? They're not going to be able to be effective for you. The next thing is understand your financial models. That's right. You need to have your spreadsheets together, cost projections, acquisition costs. I said that earlier. Sales, revenue, know your profit margins, your growth rate, all of that stuff. And if you're not currently profitable, but if you're generating revenue, you have to be able to tell them when you estimate you will be profitable. So make sure you understand all those numbers. Back to what I said before about understand your model, but your financial things. You have to have your 1, your 3, your 5-year plan for this business. Make sure that they understand that. You have that written out and give that to them. And then the final one, I would say, your customers. Know your target. Know who your customers are, because you can't come in there and say, well, I hope to attract. If you come in the market where there is a huge learning curve that you have to educate consumers or you have to educate customers, you are already at a bad disadvantage. Understand me when I say that, and please write that down. If you are coming in and you're asking for money and you are in a position where your company, your product, your service, you have to educate the market about you, that's a big red flag. They should already know about what you do. They should already understand the benefits and the nuances about what you offer. If you're first, I said this the other day, there's an advantage and a disadvantage to be first mover in a market. First mover is like that pioneer, you send out the scout, they look, but then mess around and they get shot. And, that's it. The ones who come after them is the one to say, okay, well, I already know what's going to happen if I go this way. Let me go this way. So there's an advantage, yes, because you're new, you're first, and nobody else is doing it. But the disadvantage is it's untested, it's unfounded, and you could end up being that one that gets shot. Figuratively, not literally. So those are some of the things I want you to consider before you even think about going to see an investor, because this is serious business. And sometimes with these investors, get stuck in the bear trap. That's right, mess around, get stuck in that bear trap, get that foot gnawed off. But these are some of the things you have to think about when you're seeking investment dollars. This is not a loan. This is not a game. This is not something that you can gamble and say, oh, well, if I go under, I just claim bankruptcy, whatever. This is people's money that you're talking about. So if you're serious about your business and you're serious about being successful, you have to make sure that you cover every single one of your bases before you even pitch to investors. This is why it's so hard for people to get in to see investors. And you always see people say, oh, well, there's not enough of investors for this. Or, oh, we can't get access. It's like a secret society. Yeah, because any fool with a harebrained scheme comes and says, hey, let me talk to you for a minute. I need $100,000 for this idea I came up with. The more prepared that you are, the better chance you have of getting funding. Even if you're not profitable, even if you're to a point where you're stuck and you can't scale, if you have mapped it out, if you understand the landscape, if you can convince your investor that you are worth the gamble, you'll get investment dollars. But the average person is not going to get investment dollars. So I hope you guys found some usefulness into these tips that I shared tonight. If you're seeking investment dollars, watch these shows, Shark Tank and West Texas Investors Club. You could go, I think on CNBC has replays or whatever. And I want you to watch them and look for what they're doing wrong. And I laugh, and people laugh when I say this. I call myself a Shark Tank armchair analyst, because I'm on there every week. I'm tweeting, I'm analyzing, I'm doing the numbers, I'm giving commentary. not to be mean, but because hopefully whoever's watching my tweets can learn as we go along. And there's still things that I learn from Shark Tank. I don't know everything. I know a lot of things. I know a lot about a lot of things, but I don't know everything. So I was looking at it as a learning experience. So make sure that you do your research, read. There's plenty of articles out there. Find a pitch coach. Martin Sorju is a guy that I know. His is the investorspitchclinic.com. I think that's what it is. Investorspitchclinic.com, I think is the name of it. But I'll post a link on Twitter for you. There are plenty of books out there about how to pitch. And go to some pitch competitions. Your local SBA probably has some pitch competitions. I know a lot of the local colleges have pitch competitions, and they have the incubators and things like that. Go to some of the demo days that they have at accelerator programs. You learn. Get in there, learn the lingo, see how they operate, see how they move. Listen to the feedback that the investors give to the people who pitch to them. And I'm telling you, the more prepared you are, the better chance you have to get investment dollars. And if you're serious about growing a company, at some point, investment dollars has to be part of the plan. So I hope you found value in that. And now it's time for me to go finish watching Grey's Anatomy, because I missed Scandal last week because I was in the airport traveling around. So I'm going to see that today. So I'm Adrienne Graham. If you have any questions, tweet me at talentdiva, or you can send me email at info@empowerme.org and just put Mogul Chicks Chat in the subject and let me know that you watched this. And make sure you share it. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and share it anyway. And thank you for the hearts. And I will see you guys next time. So be profitable.